say thank you, Ashe, so my ancestors can hear me. Good manners when I'm asking them to heal me. Life is like a clusterfuck of hornets, do you feel me? But sometimes time slows down and you can see the wings beating.
Blessings, fellow weird and wild ones. My name is Goddess, aka G, aka your friendly neighborhood witch. I'm a cinephile, kinkster, brat, and queen switch. Thank you for joining me on our way back to wholeness. This is our temple, our playground, our life, and our truths. For season 3, I will be talking with the fam about sacred sex, the sensuality and healing, and practicing healthy love. This work is for the collective from me, Brenda, and Kay. And there's a lot of magic that goes on behind the scenes. Find ways to support and practice reciprocity for all the dope folks on the show at the links below. Grab your toys, your potions, and your lotions, and let's reclaim our pleasure.
Tin Tiny Talks is a global, non-traditional artist in residency based in Portland, Oregon, that focuses on the Black, Indigenous, trans, gender non-conforming, two-spirit, and queer creative diaspora. How does it work? Each year, 10 artists are selected as artists in residency both from Oregon and from across the United States and beyond. These artists will complete commissions which will be presented during the 10 Tiny Talks Festival based in Portland, Oregon. Go to cravetheater.org for more information. That's CraveTheatre.org.
Hará, AraMaya, they, she, he, is a self-love and sensual embodiment mentor who works with women and the gender-expansive community to birth a life governed by love, alignment, and pleasure. They walk hand in hand with clients as they step into the power of their bodies, senses, and hearts. Formerly a burnt-out registered nurse, dominatrix, and sex worker, they have embraced their gifts to live in radiant alignment. They hold spaces through offering self-love, pleasure, shadow work, and sacred sexuality embodiment rituals to help clients fully reclaim their birthright to pleasure and abundance. Hará currently resides in Mexico and is continuously looking for ways to support and nurture the local community. Welcome, Hará. Thank you so much, Hará, for being on season 3 of the Sensitive Community podcast. I'm so excited to have you here.
Oh my gosh, me too. It is an absolute pleasure to be here, an absolute honor as well to share this sacred space with you, with what you've created. And actually, before we go further, I would like to invite all of us to just kind of welcome each and every one of us into our bodies, if that's okay with you.
Yes, please.
Okay. All right. I'm going to invite all of us to just tune in. Perhaps invite yourself to a comfortable seating position wherever you are. Or perhaps you're driving, walking. Just simply inviting a deeper presence into our bodies. Tuning into our breath. Slowing down our nervous system, signaling that it is safe to be here right now, right in this moment. Thank you for coming on here and spending some time with us today. And as you take the next breath, I want you to invite yourself to take that breath in deeper all the way down to your pelvic floor. And slow exhale out. And the next inhale again, all the way down to your pelvic floor, expanding your lower belly, feeling more aware of your sex organs, your perineum. And slow exhale on the way up. And one more deep inhale to bring yourself back home into your body. And slow exhale and sigh. Thank you so much again for being here, and I invite you to come back and bring yourself back slowly, slowly. We should always exit the meditative space as to the same way as we entered, just slow, steady, so that our nervous system can truly adjust between the two realms. And thank you so much for joining me on that lovely breaths together. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you for that. It felt so right to open the space with that.
Oh, it's one of my favorites for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, if that isn't a tell of the energy that you're going to bring to these questions, I don't know what is. So yeah, thank you. So at the beginning of each podcast episode, we share our pronouns and the race, ethnicity in which we embody, and then we do a little bit of a check-in question. But I think I'm going to combine those just because you did such a lovely invitation into the space. So if you could share where in this moment you feel pleasure in your body, and where do you hope it is at the end of our time together, but also share your pronouns and the race, ethnicity which you embody.
My pronouns are they, she, he. All pronouns work for me, even the Z's. I'm very, very fluid in all of it, and I embrace all pronouns, and that's what resonates with me. And my ethnicity right now, well, not right now, my ethnicity in general is, I'm still in the, that felt so good to just take that deep breath in. And I am Indonesian. And the other half, we're not quite sure, honestly. We think it may be Mongolian, but I'm still, perhaps one day I can do that 23andMe and see what really is there. We're honestly not sure what our other half is. So it's a deeper discovery awaiting to be illuminated and to be awakened, for sure.
Beautifully said.
Yeah. And you asked me where I feel pleasure in my body right now. Where I feel pleasure right now is honestly around I would say my sacral chakra, my womb space, my pussy, my chest feels amazingly radiant and just ready to share whatever wants to come out today. So that's where I'm currently feeling pleasure right now, and hope to amplify that at the end of this.
Yes, come through with that. Yeah, yes to the amplification. And you already are exuding it. People can't see you, but I saw you before we started this. And it's already it's showing. It shows, boo.
I love it.
And my pronouns are he, they, she. And I'm black-bodied. And right now I'm really feeling this delicious groundedness and pleasure in the right side. Let me tap another one. Actually, it's in the left side of my body. There's this softness, this melting that's happening. But on the right side, I feel just solid. Very, very solid. So by the end of this, I would actually like the melting to be on both sides. I'm calling in that.
Oh, I love the sound of just it's melting on my left side. I'm oh, that sounds so delicious and yummy.
It's so good. I love that feeling.
Mm.
So, I guess I should start actually by how I came across your work, because I was looking for a BIPOC person who was also non-binary or not like cisgendered, who was doing work in sacred sexual, divine, kink, and someone actually recommended me who has their own podcast, Novally Wilder recommended you, and you had actually come across my path before that, and so I was like, this is just I need to reach out to them. And I'm so glad I did, because you have just been so like watching you on Instagram, and your work is just really authentic and sensual and delicious, and there's so much play in it, which just is like a constant reminder to me that like it's not just about like the destination, like enjoy the journey. Yeah, so I want to thank you for that, and also, and people can pick up on this on your website. You talk about our sexuality and sexual practices as a spiritual dedication to God, which so resonates with me. And that it's so profoundly beautiful. So what does divine sexuality mean to you? And would you mind sharing some of your experiences with it, and how portals show up?
Yeah. Oh, damn. This is a big question.
It is. There's like multiple questions in one. I think I got really excited. It just put them all together.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's gonna be like a long answer, and I'll see what comes out. So, divine sexuality, I actually love how you word that. I think, let me feel into this. I feel that in society, there's been so much separation programming, even within ourselves. Like, we've been so indoctrinated to feel that our sexuality is dirty, our body's desires is shameful, and it should be filled with guilt. And it makes sense why this is the type of programming that we are often presented with in society, because ultimately a society that is separate from their sexuality is easily very controlled. I say this with a lot of love and respect for humanity, because our sexuality is literally our creative power, right? It's how we create like new human beings, and not just new human beings, but also any type of creation. And this is one of the reasons why I am very passionate. Like, one of my greatest passions is about bringing this wisdom to all gender spectrums, not just the cis women identified crowd, because I do feel that every human beings essentially hold this womb, this power to create within, and it's just a matter of tapping into it. And I ultimately feel that through the art of harnessing those, like the sacred sexuality power, understanding that through the attunement of sacred energy exchange, we can begin to consciously create, like basically recreating the Immaculate Conception over and over again, when we know that the energy exchange that we're engaging in is in fact sacred, is in divine alignment. And through this, there's an invitation around it. Because we are constantly creating the connections. We're creating the womb web, like the world, this cosmic matrix, I like to call it. And we create a beautiful strand of network within one human being to another, and even human beings to trees. Like, we're still creating relationships, right? And to me, it's that sacred sexuality is the life force energy. It's what enables us to generate that power to create. And without it, there is no life at all. Because if you think about it, without sexual energy, there will be no life. We don't exist without it. So, I guess this is like a short answer to the question. It's just this coming back to that power of the fact that, yeah, we can in fact create from all the forces that is within us. And implementing that element of sacredness and the understanding of how sacred our energy is and this life force energy is, then we can begin to, what's the word? I'm not finding the word. Potentially really create a whole new world again and again and again together. But in order to really harness that ability to create a conscious world that is seated in love, we get to embody that power deeper. We get to step into it deeper instead of treating it as something that is shameful, dirty, something to be guilty about. It's really this art of cultivating that power and being able to know that I have this magnificent creative power inside of me, and I am also capable of embodying the art of God, like the inner divinity within me, because I know how to create consciously with this power. Because that power, the sexual power within us, it can either create something wonderful and beautiful and ecstatic, or it can create something very destructive. And there's nothing, it goes back to what I was saying and sharing earlier, just like a couple of minutes ago in the beginning. It's, a whole society with repressed sexual energy it's very easily controlled. It's very destructive, because ultimately our sexual power is the power of God. It is the creator and the destructor power all in one. It's very powerful. And it's just this deeper invitation around owning that power and knowing that I can trust myself with this. And you can't do that if there's this programming around shame and guilt. So yeah. So that's sort of the answer with that. I think
Thank you for that.
Yeah. And I think we didn't even get to the second question.
We did it, but that's okay, because I'll ask it in like a second. We'll come back. Because just what you just said was just like, I don't like the whole kit and caboodle, to be honest with you. It was just, our sexual energy is our creative energy. And when you were talked about the web, I see God, universe, as like this web that we are all a part of. And so when you talked about using the creative energy to kind of strengthen that web, I felt such a holding. Like I felt like I could surrender into that, not only because it's so strong, that web of creation and divine love is so strong, but because I'm a part of creating it.
Yes.
Oh, that, yeah.
Yeah, like how much does that shift things from within us, or when we get to really sit with that, and it's like, wow, like I'm a part of it. Like I'm not the fly in the spider web, like trapped in the web. I'm a part of this divine matrix creation together from one heart to another. And I think that's just a beautiful thing to, even I'm like getting the chills. Like I say it often, but I still just even imagining it, it's like, wow, yeah. Like that's how powerful each and every one of us are, really.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I got off a call today and we were talking about briefly like separateness. The like how we all dream the dream of separateness, and how part of forgiveness is like forgiving, dreaming into that dream. Like I understand that you've dreamed into that dream. I've understood that I've dreamed into that dream. How can we dream a different dream? My friend Jennifer brought that up, and I was like, whew. just sitting with that, and knowing that we're all a part of this beautiful web. So to go along with the fact that we are a part of this web, and then also we can embody divinity because we are a part of it. How does this apply to like sex and portals? Like for me, when I am having a very strong like orgasm, there's a portal that has completely opened up for me. And so I'm curious what your experience with that and thoughts on that are.
I feel that in terms of sex and portals, so something that's coming through right now is the sacred whore embodiment. Mm. It's because, you know, I invite people to really reclaim the term whore. The term whore originally means portal, like you are the sacred portal. And when you do engage in that ecstatic, blissful sex, right, which is essentially ideally it's the sacred energy exchange, right? You're two human beings that either, you know, very heart-centric, clear on your intentions, and then you create this, I like to say, the Big Bang. And when you create that Big Bang union, it's almost like it creates a whole new universe in the realm of the quantum level. Like that's how I always picture it. And of course, that big of a meeting point within two energies will open up that portal at the point of orgasm, right? Because I love to think of orgasms as almost like our prayers to God. And this is something that I really love this is why it's like, yes, spirituality or sexuality, it is all one. And because when you are in that state of orgasmic energy and you're just like, oh, I'm letting go and I'm just, oh, like that heart's energy from within you, when you are in that orgasm, you're very open and you think of yourself like that big bang force of energy. You're just creating this big emission of energetic imprint in the field, opening up a portal. And this is why I think that, you know, sex magic is such a popular thing nowadays, because everyone kind of wants to tap into that, because it is really like it is really, really powerful. When you are in that orgasmic state, you're essentially just amplifying your prayers, like you're amplifying whatever it is that you desire, that you want. And of course, that alone comes with its own, I like to say, fine prints, and that's a whole conversation to be had around it. But I certainly can attest to that, the fact that, like orgasmic sex definitely opens up portals. And the same thing when we embody our own individual practices for things such as sex magic, even sensual practices, when we just truly surrender to the void, to the blank, and then allow ourselves to just feel and then dive into our breath and just really being very present with ourselves, we become that divine vessel where we can receive essentially whatever the universe has in store for us. You know, and this kind of leads into the conversation around, and this is why it gets to be a sacred energy exchange every time, because it does have that immaculate power of amplification, quite literally. You're amplifying your orgasms and your prayers to the field. So being clear to what it is that the intention around that sacred energy exchange, around that act of communion and the consummation, is extremely important, I guess, per se. Yeah.
Yeah. Could you speak more to the importance of setting an intention? Like, do we always need to set an intention in divine union in that way, or is it only for like special times when that would be ideal?
I think it could be special times, obviously like ritualistic, ceremonial events. Like me and my partner love to do that so much. We're like basically woke out of Egypt. That's what our ongoing joke is. But it, it's is it important to set up an intention every time? I would say the better word perhaps is to be clear. And why engaging in that sacred exchange? Right? Because ultimately everything is a sacred exchange, whether it is sex in the bedroom or not. When you create that exchange with somebody, it's almost like creating the web, right? Now I think of us like if we were like Spider-Man, we're squirting the web somewhere and we're creating that newness with that person. And in terms of when we are in bed, when we're in that sacred energy exchange, I would say this is the point where, yeah, again, being very clear as to why, because especially for those of us that are born with the physical womb space, no matter what gender you are, we have a tendency to pick up out of the other person's whatever it is that they have. And this is one of the reasons why it is essential for both parties to be aware this is not an act of compulsion or an act of just like, I'm having a very stressful day and I want to release something. Is that making sense? So it's like, it gets to be that when we engage in these sacred exchanges and energy exchanges, it gets to be from a place of wholesomeness and not just like, oh, like I just want to like let go of this anxious feeling, so I'm gonna do this, so is that making sense?
Oh, it is. And I'm gonna let you continue and then I'll say. But yeah, it's definitely making sense.
Yeah, I feel that. And I guess to speak onto it more, and this wants to come out, so I guess I'll just let it come out. In terms of like sex magic and sacred sexuality practices, it's called sacred for a reason, right? It's the art of awareness, attuning to what's going on in your body, knowing what is in your inner landscape. Oftentimes when we practice this, a lot of people like, sometimes we see, I think I even saw like an article on Vogue or something about sex magic, and I'm like, oh my God. It's good that it's coming out more to the public, and at the same time, there is a level of awareness that gets to be built upon this practice, because when we engage in these sacred sexuality practices, it does tend to stir things up, stir the cauldron. And sometimes you release generations worth of trauma from your body. And this is one of the reasons why it is essential to know exactly who or what you're dealing with, even though it's not possible to always know what you're dealing with, but to be in a space where you will have space held for you when these things do come up. And the reason why I say this is because, it is, as we speak before, the sexual energy is a powerful life force energy, right? It's literally the creation energy, and it's also the destructive energy. And sometimes when we engage in these rituals, or when we have sex with somebody and we're unaware of what is going on, it can, when we awaken that energy underneath, it can blow up trauma in our chakra system. And it doesn't, and it's not a saying that it's impossible for you to bring yourself back together, but it is amazing to know that possibility before you getting there, before one gets there, and then just like, what, like, I don't understand what is going on, so I think there's like this, I feel like it's just the art of sacred sexuality is really the attunement of being aware of what exactly is going on inside, more than anything, because a part of the art of harnessing the inner goddess, the inner goddess, the inner god is really also being able to own up that, I'm a part of this creation somehow, and in the seed of it all, I'm a part of this, and trusting the fact that I created whatever this is, whether, and I'm not saying like all events are necessarily labeled good, but they are all happening for us in a sense that we are a part of that divine creation. We created it because we knew that we can also bring ourselves back together. And I think this is like, I know we're kind of like going woo all over the place right now.
But no, I'm following. Well, I'm following.
But it really is the power of the womb and the power of the creative force energy. Like, it is really that vast and that widespread, and this is why it is such a powerful force of life. Literally life force energy. Like that's what it is, because it is like, even though it seems like it's one thing, it's sexuality, it's in the bedroom, but it really is just about something bigger than that. And from the tantric lineage, I'm going to be honest, I didn't have access to study 500 hours of tantric yoga because I wasn't raised in that. Like, we were taught to be Christians, but the remembrance in my blood is definitely there. And I resonate so much with a lot of the Tibetan concept, and even just the tantric lineage that we have in Bali and the ways of living. And it is just really about becoming one with all things, and understanding that we are not separate after all, even though there is this dream and this fantasy, as you said before, like this dream of separation, because it's easier to say that we are separate from things. And it's easier to say that, no, sexuality is a dirty thing. It's a dirty, guiltful, shameful thing, because then because then there's this invitation around, can you own up to the fact that you are a part of that creative energy? And we're constantly in this womb web together all the time.
Like acknowledging your own power, and that you do have, maybe, I don't like the word responsibility in this context, but like there is an honoring and there is a relationship that because you are a part of this, you cannot help but be a part of. So how will you play, your role? Like, how are we playing our roles in that? I want to go back a little bit, and then it'll end where we are now. But like I appreciate what you said about clarity versus intention, because I feel like in all forms of intimacy, clarity is needed, especially when it becomes physical and sexual. Like, to understand that maybe tonight is not the night where we are, doing an all-out ritual with our sex, but like, we're gonna be doing a little something after we watch a movie. But like the clarity and always being able to choose into that. But then with the intention of it, what are we trying to create here? Like it's all creation, but there's a deeper quantum, like it's just a deeper level of stirring the pot, like you're always going to be stirring the pot, but like what's going to come out of the pot? Did you put some potions in it this time? Like, what's going on? So I appreciate you saying that, and that there's still some things about what you said that I need to process. But then when you started also talking about putting ourselves back together, that like in my body, I felt such a huge resonance with that. so I'm wondering for those of us who we have had to put ourselves back together for different reasons, how would you recommend, or like what have you found to be helpful in coming back, like during sex, like if you disassociate, how do we come back, and how can our partners share space for that too?
Yes. Oh, I love this question. Yeah, I think the term that is coming out, like that's coming to surface for me right now, is just this art of coming home to your body, coming back to your body. And I feel that ultimately it is just this embodiment of self-love and compassion and grace, and also just being able to slow it down more than anything. A big part of sacred sexuality is really just being able to tune in, again, that art of awareness within what is going on inside right now, and being able to slow ourselves down during that process. Even just, let me tune into the breath and be really present right now. And if I'm detaching, if I'm leaving my body, why is that? There's usually always a story behind everything that we do. It's almost like never that it's for nothing, because our bodies is encoded with these sacred, like, Morse codes. It's stories, it's medicine, it's literally what we're supposed to bring into this world. So when we allow ourselves to slow down, let me take a step back and breathe and be really slow and feel what the sensations feel like in my body. And let me look at this person in their eyes and see what's going on, so that they can see me and I can see myself deeper. Like, in terms of when you have a partner in front of you, it's also an invitation for that partner to also become more aware and present. If you notice your partner checking out, maybe slow it down a little bit and ask them, like, just look at them, touch their face, or just very gently, like, be with them, touch them, and just ask them, like, let's take a breath together, or I'm really enjoying this time with you. I want to check in and see how you're feeling. Like, even, I know it sounds awkward maybe, but honestly, like, that is the best way to just really help each other bring ourselves back into the present moment, and to just reground back into our body. And that's when we can really reprogram and almost shift, because when we check out of our body, normally it's because of a reason, right? We don't feel safe in our body, or we feel, like, dissonance or dissociated. And when we're allowed to just take space in that moment, even just a few seconds, then you can begin to just step back and see, okay, what is exactly going on? And that moment can potentially become a very beautiful healing moment together, or even by yourself when you're practicing self-pleasure. Sometimes, when we're using the vibrator, it happens. Sometimes we love to check out. So really being aware of it and just inviting that slowness and the deep breath and just being present, coming back into your body. It also signals for your body to know that, hey, it's safe to come back. You don't have to rush. You can take your time and process what's going on right now, right in this moment.
Slowness is so important. And I think it allows for us to enjoy the moment a bit more, like let our touch linger and like feel the connection more, because there is absolutely no rush when it comes to, making love or creating something. It'll happen when it's meant to happen. And when you
process.
Yes, exactly. Being present for it. And I can speak from my own experiences of having a partner who just lied there with me as I'm having a moment of release, or a moment of realizing, like a moment of touching on my trauma, and being held without judgment by someone who, desires and loves you, is such, that in itself helps,
Yes.
like transmute the pain and the sadness and the grief. That, and like, that is a potion of such a powerful potion. Such a powerful potion.
Oh, so, isn't it the best? It's just amazing.
Yes. So it might feel awkward to do so, but it is actually such a maybe brave is the word, but it's profound.
Yeah.
And it's powerful. Like, when someone can do that for me, and when I am allowed to do that for other people, I'm like, wow, thank you for honoring the God in me. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Yeah. It's the soft power, isn't it? It's like, you don't always have to be this heart penetrating force to be powerful. And it's just like, actually in that beautiful softness, like, the softest thing can't ever be broken, ever. And it's just allowing those emotions to flow through you when it wants to flow through you. I feel that it's a beautiful thing.
Yes, it is. So along with, being slow, holding space, just in general with with divine sex, how can we extend those moments of pleasure when we are really in the throes of, an orgasm? It actually doesn't even have to be an orgasm. Like, like, it could be just in the throes of, like, those delicious moments of sex. Like, I'm learning that, like, those actually are orgasms too, and I did not know that. But for those of us who still don't,
whole new world. I love it.
Yes.
I feel like, okay, so let me make sure that I get your question. So it's like, how do you extend that period, right?
Yeah. How do you extend those moments?
Yeah. So literally breathe that energy up your body. It's like, there's this breathing technique called the microcosmic orbiting, right? In Tantra, in Neo Tantra specifically, where you kind of breathe that energy from your root chakra up through your chakra system, up your spine, allowing it to go over your head. And then, like, if you want to put your tip of your tongue on the roof of your mouth, and then allowing that energy to travel down in front of you, and just sort of imagine it washing through your entire body. So it's like this invitation around, play around with it the next time that this is, you're in that blessed state of orgasmic state, really allowing, like, can I spread and circulate this energy to every part of my body, and then not thinking too much, but letting your body, setting that intention in the seat of your womb, and then allowing your body to do its thing. It's amazing. And you'll be able to feel and see, if you make this intention to, can I, like, feel this orgasmic energy everywhere, like even in the tips of my fingers and to my toes, and to consciously feel it. What is that going to be like? And if you allow that, because a lot of us are, well, I believe that we're all witches, and we're all capable of manifesting magic. And it's just a matter of really commanding with the power of your voice, with the power of your sovereignty, and then so it is, and it will happen. So this is an invitation to play around with it, to consciously breathe it up next time, or just simply slowing the breath and imagining that energy just traveling through your body. Maybe that energy looks like a form of light, and you imagine that light expanding through your tummy, your chest, your hands. And when you put that awareness inside of yourself, it's almost like automatic that you're gonna prolong it, because then it doesn't just become this quick whoop, and then it goes out of your body. And this is something that is a greater invitation on how to harness your sensual magnetism as well, right? Instead of expelling that energy, that orgasm out, you're breathing it back into your body, and then allowing it either to clear things that doesn't serve you, or just to really simply just enjoy and allow your body to feel pleasure, because you're allowed to. And especially as BIPOC people and queer people, like, oh my God, this is so needed. This gets to be in our community more and more and more each and every day, just because that slowness and being able to circulate it around your body, it allows ourselves to honestly feel safe in our bodies, at the same time, when we have that sacred partner in front of us that is conscious and wants to hold space for us and wants to co-create this making love experience instead of it just fucking, right? There's a difference. So yeah, that's a way.
Yeah. When you said like in your toes and your fingers, I was just like, oh, yeah. There was something about that, like it just felt like this glowing in my hands.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and I think there's something to be said for the fact that like every time you have sex, there's not going to be that experience. You might not even orgasm every time you have sex. But there's like you were saying, like the slowness of it, there's the deliciousness of the connection itself. Because sometimes I know I can be really in my head about getting to the orgasm, like making sure my partner orgasms, making sure I orgasm. And it really takes away from actually being present there with them. So I truly feel like the pleasure that you're talking about doesn't have to be just in moments of orgasm. It can be in moments of simply just knowing that someone is there, that you're there, that you're, like, that you're present with them. I think that moments of other kinds of pleasure can happen too.
Yeah. I wanted to say, I'm like, kills the vibe, doesn't it? When you make the orgasm as the agenda, it's like, it really, because it's a thing that our society is like really, a lot of us do believe, and there's no shame in that, it's just is. And you're right. It's like, it's really embracing pleasure in any moment, really just being present with that human being, or even like a glass of water. You can find pleasure with a glass of water. And I feel that a lot of people, they sexualize pleasure. And yes, it is a very sexual thing. And at the same time, it can be felt through things that aren't necessarily labeled as sexual, but it can be sexual at the same time. So for example, like we can be with a glass of water and make it a sensual experience and a pleasurable, deep pleasurable experience, as if you were having sex with that glass of water. So this looks like almost like just being really present with the glass of water, admiring the container, the glass, the curves of the glass, the radiance of the crystal of the glass, and watching how the water is contained inside and how it's wet and it's delicious and it wants to shower you with this abundance and the wetness. And can you feel the glass? Like, how does it feel when you touch the glass? How does it feel when you dip your finger in the water? And how does it feel when you first feel that glass in your mouth, and just really taking that first sip of water and feeling the wetness and allowing that water to enter your mouth and then entering your body? So it's really, you're right. It's not just about, the orgasm. Is something so much bigger than that. It's about being able to cultivate that moments of bliss and pleasure really in anything and everything that we do. And that's when we really come into that divine union of what true Tantra is. The home of Tantra is really, can I find the divinity in everything and anything? And I would even go as far as, even when you're going through like the biggest shit show in your life, it's like, can you allow yourself to be in this space of ease to navigate it, knowing that you do have everything provided already, and you can be like this snake in the mud, just gliding through the fields of mud, and the mud is nourishing to you, and you're allowing that darkness of the mud to be your nourishment so that you can radiate. You can, once you shed your skin, right? Because usually when we're going through that big transitional period, we're shedding our skin, we're transforming. And can we allow ourselves to nourish all the medicine that is shown through that mucky things that we're not enjoying so much? And then trusting that, like, I'm going to emerge to be this radiant God, goddess at the end of this, because of all the things that has happened, because everything is a gift, everything is happening for us. Yeah.
Wow. Ooh, like you took
really
me for a
open.
10 minutes a second. It's like, whoa.
The channel's like really open today.
Oh, wow, that gave me a lot to think about. And I'm glad you brought up that, like, making love to water, because then I don't even have to ask the next question about like, how do we have like orgasms with like in our everyday lives? Because it's right there. You like just explained it about connecting with things with all of our senses.
Yeah.
And it comes back again to that slowness of like slowing down to really feel it, to really taste it, to truly see it.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much about life that is sensual. Like living life itself is sensual. So how do we, how do we take the time to actually enjoy that? And my dog just sneezed, so excuse me, Mix. Yeah. Oh wow. So much to take in about what you said throughout all of this. So can you tell me who are some of the beings and people, ideas that have inspired you in your practice in pleasure?
This is a good question. Oh my God, so many people. So many people. I feel that, I've had a lot of teachers. Obviously, like, Wise Womb Oracle is a big teacher of mine. Really love Naomi Amaya Love. Sage Maurer is one. And also the people in my villages in Indonesia were like probably the biggest, I don't want to say like teachers even, they're the biggest way shower of them all. Because even though it wasn't like in an agenda, okay, this is a training course, but they showed me how to be really present with the plants. And that's actually how this whole thing started, believe it or not, was from me talking to my plants when I was little. So I would say, like, when it comes to that question, there's a lot of people that's inspired me, like Tantric Alchemy has inspired me, Cara Sophia and the Bertrands, and of course the deities like Mary Magdalene, Isis, Hathor. I am a big devotee of them, and a big portion of everything that I offer is just a remembrance of what it was like to be alive during those priestess temple times. So getting a little bit on the past life stuff, but honestly, I think like in this lifetime in particular, what really taught me to be really present and really embracing my humanness, the body, is the plants, the trees, because it was the only way that I could communicate with them was through the art of that divine presence and breathing with them and asking the questions and be patient for the answer. And sometimes that comes from me just feeling the leaves and being present with that, the roots of that plant, that tree, and then really cultivating that art of awareness. So I would say it all comes down to trees, Gaia, nature. And what's more sensual than nature? You know, nature is God. Nature is they, she, he for me. It's like she's the mother, the provider, the nurturer. She provides all things, and he's also the protector, the provider. Like, you know, it's all the things. Like literally the most agender fluid being that is all totality. Like embraces all of the varieties, can hold all of the pollution and also the beautiful things that are happening in the world, but still be its own entity and its oneness. So to me, it's like, yeah, I feel like Gaia, Sophia, like Mother Earth, Father Earth, the earth is my biggest teacher. It's my biggest inspiration. When you feel the grass on your feet, there's nothing more sensual than that. And the mud in your feet and feeling the rain coming onto your body and listening to, okay, what are they telling me? Like, what is the teaching behind this? Like, there's such a beautiful communion that we can cultivate with our earth. And it's all here. It's about embodying heaven on earth. And it's not about what happens afterward. You know, it's about now, like in this moment.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Joel.
Oh my God. Every question is like a journey of
that's what this is going to be like the headliner. It's like every question is a journey with AraMaya.
Oh my God.
Oh,
wow.
Just listening. Yeah. just listening to you is so affirming. It's just so affirming. I'm gonna leave that there. Thank you. So okay, we've taken a couple of different journeys with you in our hour together, but please, how can we find out more about you? What are you currently offering?
Yes. So you can connect with me at themonarchtemple.com, and it has like all of the channels, like Telegram channel for uncensored transmission, because I've been on Instagram's brat list for a while now, talking about sexuality and all that. And also currently, so yeah, best way to find me, monarchtemple.com. I'll have my Instagram channel and all that. And currently I'm shifting towards solely opening to one-on-one mentorships only. High level, it's for individuals who are really ready to go deeper. Like it's pleasure, it's sensuality, and also they're ready to really go dig deep down to the source and understand what is the seed of their creation. And we begin to move together from that point on to create a world for that person that is truly embodied in their highest divinity. So that's sort of what I'm offering right now, is the one-on-one mentorships. And I'm also offering like these 10-day Voxer vortex, where you go in the Voxer space with me for 10 days. And this is for people who are really in the midst of big changes through their life, and they just want space held throughout this transitional period to be reminded to come back into their power each and every time, and remember that, because I am the God of this very universe and it is all in my body, I have all the tools inside of me, and I'm there to hold space for that, navigate it with you, guide you through that changes. And the last thing is just a one-time one-on-one, like really dive deep sessions. This is like an all-day thing, very deep, and definitely only offer to those that are very confident in the way that they can navigate the space. Because every session with me, I mean, this is a podcast and it's a journey, and every session with me, it really moves and shifts so much inside of you. So it's definitely something to be, and I think even that one-time one-on-one, it comes with a Voxer session, and then there's like another follow-up session with it as well. So those are the three main things that I'm offering right now, and I'll have like a workshop here and there. The next one that's coming is sensual breast massage, chest massage for witches to heal the witch wound. So that's what's coming up next in particular, but that kind of sums things up.
Ooh, that was a meaty summary. You just you are you are a portal in yourself.
Oh my God.
You can tell, and people are going to tell when they hear this, like you people who find you are ready to really transform, really do the alchemy, do the work in the alchemy. So thank you again for letting us come on this brief journey with you, and I hope that the journey continues. Okay. So before we go, last questions. Where do you feel pleasure in your body now? And what is your heart carrying with you into this great big wild?
I'm feeling a lot of pleasure around my shoulders, actually. Like my heart space in the back of my heart feels really tender and soft, and what I'm carrying through is let me feel into this. Just gratitude, honestly, for being here, for speaking to this medicine more and more. You know, there's definitely a desire for this to be received by more people out there and reaching different human beings, different crowds, different nets. So thank you for having me here again. So grateful.
Yeah, me as well. I'm definitely feeling that pleasure on the right side of my body now. And there's more melting that shall be done this evening, I think, with some deep journaling, and just like sending you gratitude. And also, I think I'm just so giddy and happy to know that there are other QT BIPOC folks out here like doing this work, that, you know, we're not alone, and that your work is so profound. So profound. Yeah.
We get to be in this together.
Yes.
That's it, y'all. That's our show. Big thank you to Cloud Stokely for providing their song Lo-Fi Beats to contemplate YT supremacy on Season 3. Your music is a whole vibe, fam. And thank you for your continued support, y'all. Keep pleasuring yourselves.
Tin Tiny Talks is a global, non-traditional artist in residency based in the Northwest, focusing on the Black, Indigenous, trans, gender non-conforming, two-spirit, and queer creatives. We'd like to congratulate our 2021 recipients: Belinda Rose, AC Ramirez de Arellano, Kareem Jackson, Cloud Stokely, Calisto Nanan, D&D Productions, Nick Labonte, Zinnia Opio, Marla Darling, and Mix Dahlia de Lubel. You are the definition of excellence. Go to cravetheater.org to meet the artists.